Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video, my goal is to kind of sum up the showcase and kind of give my thoughts as we go through it. I'm not really going to put like timestamps or anything. I'm just going to try and cover as much as I can. So the pre-show, by the way, I think was handled very well. It was basically the cinematics of the last 9.5 years or whatever it was. They skipped over some interesting ones like Curse of Osiris and Warmind and a couple, and like Shadowkeep didn't get a lot. So they didn't show all of them. But it would be kind of a good way for a newer player to get a recap, so hopefully that's part of like the new player journey. Anyway, kind of cool just to watch cinematics that kind of come together for about an hour's worth of a pre-show for Final Shape. Now, for Final Shape, they tell us very straightforward. We are going into the Traveler. Straight up. It's kind of shown in the trailer. Ships are flying in. We are going into the Traveler, and we are going into the Pale Heart. Now, they mention that the Vanguard is going to be there, so we're going to have Cade. My hunch on Cade that he might be the NPC for this destination because he did die. Now, he may have some form of life within the Traveler. We don't know what that is. We don't know what the interactions are going to be. He will be with us in here, but my hunch is that he will have to stay in here. I don't think he's going to be able to journey back out into the rest of the world with us. I do believe he will live within the Traveler. My hunch, total speculation, but just a guess. But Ikora is going to be there. Zavala is going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there, so we'll have to see how all of this goes. Now, the first thing is the destination. It's the Pale Heart. Now, this is a unique one. They describe it as a very linear destination, like point A to point B. Now, I know that sounds weird because typically we have these like interconnected loops or circles that all come together with these little like, funnels in between. They literally state, we're going to enter in the portal back out here and we're going to go towards what you see on screen. And as we proceed forward, it's going to kind of transition to the world from our perspective and our memories. And kind of the way to describe the Pale Heart is it is partially created from your memories, your experiences, your kind of life history as a guardian and all of the things that we've been through. So it's going to have like destinations. We'll show the tower and stuff in a second. Those are our perspectives, greens, forests, things like that. On the other side of that, it is the witness's perspective, because the witness went in here too. And our journey is to go from where we enter all the way over there. And we have no idea how many missions it's going to be or anything like that, but it is linear for us to go from point A to point B. So it is not going to be, every destination we've been getting where it's the circle of 3 landing zones or 3 zones all connected, and you got some outshoots. It is one long straight. Now, you might have a little couple branches here and there and stuff like that, but they truly describe it as linear, which I'm up for the change. We've had enough circles of destinations, like 1, 2, 3 destinations in a circle and all of that. If they're going to go for the gold medal and do something different and truly have the portal to the Spire, which is likely where the witness is, I am totally fine with that. So something different this way comes, especially when it comes to the destination. So I'm kind of excited to see how that pans out, but it is definitely going to be done in a different way. So I'm curious how the campaign proceeds as well. But a very cool sounding destination. We've got some art. You've got floating islands. You've got different destinations. We've got trees and birds, but also like hellscape kind of in front of you. You've got the tower, which we're going to kind of get to they reimagine the OG tower. Obviously, kind of like the vaults and stuff are around, but it's, we're in there. So you can see behind there's the portal. This is some of where we're at. Maybe that's our standing grounds. You've got Guardians, you've got Zavala, you've got so much around us in this area, and we're going to get to experience it all. Now, I will tell you, the one that I did not expect to see, new supers. We are getting a new super per subclass, and this will kind of bring up a discussion as to other stuff when we get towards the end. Titan Super is kind of amazing. It is a giant axe. We finally get a damage super where you're going to get to throw max of 3 axes. They will do damage, they will vacuum, they will kind of do an explosion, so probably like volatile explosion, and you get to throw 3 of them. So you'll be able to spread out your damage if you want to, or just probably throw it all on one big boss. You're going to be able to run out and grab those things, probably depending on who they stick into or the ground or whatever, pick it up like a giant axe, and swing it around. And there's 3 of them, so if you're on a fire team of 3, you will be able to throw 3 of them down, then all 3 of you could go pick up an axe and go smashing. As a Titan, I'm just very happy we get a ranged damage super. It has taken long enough. Thank you for giving us one. Now for the Hunter, you've got a throwing knife for arc that you throw to a destination, and then you zip there and do this like arc whip kind of thing in a circular motion, almost like maybe like a staff thing or whatever, but you go where your knife is. You teleport there. So PvP hell will ensue, I have no doubt, but it should be fun. I don't know how good it is for ad clearing, how much damage you're really going to do, but it is definitely a very unique one. So thought it was kind of cool. This will be very PvP focused, I would imagine, but definitely cause a lot of hell in PvP, I would think. Then you've got Warlocks. You go Radiant. Kind of like Destiny 1. There is no self-revive. They say that, but you're like throwing more grenades. Your melee, casting for solar has more range for your projectiles. You're doing a bunch more incandescent damage. And then everybody around you is doing incandescent as well. They said they're trying to figure out where incandescent is going to be for balancing and what types it works on. Who knows? But again, seems fairly cool. It is going to be more of a roaming super for solar, and it's not going to be a well. So that one will be kind of an interesting support / damage super. A little bit different there. So that was a big, big surprise to see those. Now, they also mention, well, before I go too far, they also mentioned like exotics. They said like a sniper rifle probably sniper, that works like golden gun. No idea how that exotic's going to work. They mentioned different weapon types. So you've got a healing auto rifle. If you shoot enemies that's doing damage, you shoot an ally, it's healing them. Like, just seamless, one to the other. The power of the Traveler. It looks like there might be a trace rifle that's like the power of the Traveler. Who knows what damage type that's going to be? And that may bring me to something I may as well say it right now. There is no new subclass that they mentioned. There was speculation, there was rumor, there was, the tiny little diagram, whatever leaks, whatever. That could have been who knows what. But there does not seem to be a new subclass right now. 3 new supers, kind of a surprise. If you were looking for the subclass, it is not there. I've said that many times in many places as I could say it. Don't expect it. Probably not going to be there, and it's not. So you were hoping for it, not there. Cool supers as a Titan. I'm a little biased, but we finally get a roaming super. We're finally overdue. So they definitely have exotics and things planned, and they even mentioned that they are planned for quite a long time. Like they've got stuff cooking for years to come. So the years to come we'll touch on a little bit later when we get there. Activities, the only way is through. So within the Traveler, so you can see here's kind of your perspective where it's like our area, you got green, you got some statues, and then way out there in the distance, the scale is like the spire and all of those things that we're going to be headed to. Push back the corruption that has infested this mysterious and once pure landscape. That's going to be our kind of probably 6-man, 3-man, something like that. We'll get to Season of the Witch probably. New raid. Time to confront the witness. Straight up, that's all they're going to tell you, but it is going to be witness. You can see the darkness symbols behind the actual raid symbol. Kind of dig that one. Final Shape dungeon key. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. They say unlock 2 dungeons releasing during the year of Final Shape. It's going to be a little different. It's not just going to be seasons, so we'll get there. The pre-order bonus is Tessellation. I have this. I haven't used it in game yet, but it is a fusion rifle that is able to kind of take over whatever subclass you're using, and then you can kind of take your grenade, charge, put it into it, and then send out a very, interesting projectile, and I'm guessing it takes on whatever damage type you're using. Looks awesome as a weapon. It really does. It's got the kind of cool markings up top, but I will have to use it literally in game, so look for a video on that one. That is the pre-order bonus for Final Shape. I pre-ordered it today. Obviously, you guys know I'm going to play it. And I got the annual pass as well. Episodes. This is where it gets interesting. Now, there's probably a better picture somewhere for episodes, but they're not going to be the same as seasons. So I'll stick here and then I'll probably move us to another page because it kind of covers the showcase. But episodes are going to be the replacement to seasons. So if you get the Final Shape and annual pass, you'll get the Final Shape expansion plus the first one, Echoes. And then the annual pass will include Revenant and then Heresy. And again, you've got Echoes, which looks like Vex, Revenant, which looks like Scorn, Heresy, which looks like Hive. And basically each episode will contain new story content and rewards, including a new exotic mission, exotic weapon, and armor. And episodes will be split into 3 acts, with a new act releasing every 6 weeks, containing new stories, quests, activities, weapons, artifact mods, season pass ranks, and rewards. They will be the first 3 episodes coming in final shape year. I don't know anything more than that for what comes after final shape or what comes after heresy. Is it just going to be more episodes? Is there going to be an annual expansion? I honestly don't know. And that is one of the things I wanted to hear about. Because now they've said years to come, which is fair. But is it going to be a sequence of episodes where it's always just like these little 6-week things? Are there going to be bigger expansions that drop at some point? Maybe. I think what episodes are going to do is, depending on the cadence of the content that drops every 6 weeks. And 1 second. Okay, so this is the better picture I was going for. So here you can kind of see the way it breaks up. So if you do 6 times 9, that is 54 weeks. So I got a pretty good cadence. So it seems like we're going to get Story for Echoes, which looks Vex related, to be told over the course of 18 weeks. But it's not going to be week by week by week by week by week. It seems like each 6 weeks we're going to get a story injection. You can see these little icons. So you're going to get story, or you're going to get quests, story, activities, weapons, artifact mods, specifically about artifact mods. Right now, the artifact, the 5x5 grid, that will be how you start in Act 1 of each episode. Act 2 and Act 3 are going to add 5 more mods and then 5 more mods. So it is going to change the shape of it, but you're not going to like start with 15 and then get up to 25. You're going to start with 25 and end up with 35 mods, much more flexibility as it goes. They also say Season Pass ranks and Season Pass rewards. As for the Season Pass ranks and rewards, they state you're still going to have your 100 for the initial Act 1, but then in 6 weeks, they're going to give you another 50 more that you can go for. And then in the final act, they're going to give you another 50 more that you can go for. So they're going to build on it. So if you go hard early, you can be ahead of the game. If you space it out, come back and play some here and there, you can get some as you go. They described some of the rewards at the end of, say, like Act 3, level 200 kind of thing. They wanted to get back to some unique stuff that everybody could enjoy. Like when they did the 30th anniversary and you could get a tiger helmet, doesn't matter what class you are, you could use it. Unique things like that are going to kind of be that aspirational, maybe cosmetic thing that you can get, but they're more stand out if you can make it all the way to rank 200. But again, it seems like Act 1, you would get some story, some quests, some activities for that first 6 weeks. You could probably knock out all of the story that is involved in Act 1 at that time. Then if you want to take a break for 5 weeks, you probably could. Come back, get new story, new activities, go after some weapons. And then 6 weeks later, then you'll get the final piece of the story. So it's going to be spread out over time, but you're not going to have to do the weekly cadence, which I think some people are going to enjoy because you don't have to check in as consistently and still be able to experience the season. So if you're like, I'm going to check in on the first week here, I'm going to check in on the third week here because that's when I found some time, and then I'm going to check in here. And then even if you're late, you can still go back and probably do it all. So if you're going for the story, you still should be able to do that. Now, I switched over website pages to, this is, by the way, Tessellation. So it goes to whatever subclass you have in that energy slot, you're going to be able to have a fusion rifle that takes advantage of any of those. Stasis, Strand, Solar, Arc, Void. It's going to fire all of those, and then if you consume your grenade, you get one high damage projectile with an elemental explosion like that. So you're really going to lean into your damage type, especially for Solar. Another thing they mentioned were the subjugators. I'm just kind of going through as much as I can. These are new enemies. They kind of look like Tormentor. They have that darkness look like Rolk and Tormentors and those. But they're more crowd control, because notice Strand, and they've also got Stasis. So you might have somebody with Stasis turrets in the back or buffing some of the enemies. You might have Strand. Like, I literally saw Guardians being suspended, hanging in the air. Not a great place to be. So they use their power to slow, to freeze, to shatter, and force enemies out of cover to make them vulnerable. And then Strand, using proximity mines, they can suspend foes, launch projectiles, sever us. Like, if Lucent Hive and Tormentors have made you shiver, prepare for the aggression and area denial of subjugators. So it's going to take a Tormentor and then now going to give it the Lucent Hive, but Darkness subclass treatment is what it looks like. So we cover the new supers. We've also got new aspects as well for each one of the subclasses. The aspect for the hunters allows you to consume the class ability while airborne, propel themselves up into the air, jolt and damage enemies that are below, and amplify themselves and nearby allies. And then Joe was talking about this one in the Q&A afterwards, and he literally mentioned you can have a triple jump, and then if you have something that gives you maybe 2 dodges as your class ability, well, now you could do you'd end up with like 5 jumps is what we're talking about here. So hunters are leaning way into the jumps. Titans with Void, they will have a new aspect that lets them consume their grenades. We actually get to do that for the first time. Create a moving shield that not only protects them and their fire team, but also absorbs enemy attacks, and then that stored energy can be released in an area of effect attack. Basically, the more it takes in, the more it's going to output. As for Solar, the new aspect, the Solar Soul, like little floaty guy, sets enemies ablaze from a distance, so it kind of chunks out little solar bombs, it looked like. And this is another picture to just kind of show you the path. So you've got these little cubes of what we've been through and what it's like to head towards that thing. And that will be the culmination. That will be the raid, I'm sure, taking place in there. But there has to be some kind of story, climax as well in the campaign. So I'll be curious how they handle that. But they're very, very focused on us tackling the Witness, traveling through the Pale Heart, going in the Traveler, and eventually facing off in the Witness in some way. And it's what it takes to get there. So yeah, they do the full live stream here if you want to watch it. They've got the Final Shape reveal trailer, which is cool, but I'm just not going to play that for copyright stuff. Bringing players closer. So breaking barriers. We want every Guardian to be able to experience the entirety of the Light and Dark Saga. And they've implemented several changes that alleviate your power level into consideration. While many activities will still scale with player power. So some activities are still going to require power, like Grandmaster Nightfalls, for example, would be one. The campaigns and free roaming destinations will no longer ask you to level up to experience them as they are intended. This way, the story of Final Shape and Destiny 2's other expansions will always feel fair and exciting no matter your power level. So I wonder if they'll normalize the old destinations per se, but generally it seems like Lightfall probably went a little too hard on the patrols, but they still want some of it to be fun. Fire team power is going to be a thing. So if you want to play Nightfall, but your friend's power level is too low that they wouldn't be able to, because once they join your fire team, the member with the highest power level will boost the rest of the team close to their power level as long as you are all together. This way, no one is left behind. So if I'm 1810 and I got a couple of people, like this is amazing for Sherpas. Like somebody could be 1750 because they haven't played in a while, but if they jump in with their buddy who's 1810, maybe they're bumped up to 1805. Maybe you can push through some Nightfalls with them and really like help them tackle some hard stuff without having them to go through the grind of leveling up. The timeline reflections. So you're actually going to be able to go back and play specific moments of the previous campaigns, playing the Cade's Fate mission, Beyond Light, have one there. Go through specific missions for certain moments to help new players and then old players go back and experience moments that kind of help them understand the story a little bit better. Fire Team Finder is coming in Season 23 in November. They go in pretty hard on what it's going to look like. You've got all the different activities helping each other. They didn't show they showed like tagging yourself, like do I want to be casual? Do I just want to speed run, know what to do? They have a lot of tags in there. It seems like they have put a lot of work into this one. Hopefully it pans out pretty well because generally I think if it's waited this long, I really hope it's good. That's all I can say. Then we get into Season of the Witch, which is kind of where we're at the moment. Eris is a badass. I don't know how else to say it. And basically we have to face Ziva Arath and defeat her before Savathun will help us get through the portal in the Traveler. So it seems like this season we are going to work with Eris to power her up and power ourselves up through some stuff. And I will be doing a guide later once I kind of wrap my head around it. So look for that one tonight or early in the morning. Basically understanding how the Season of the Witch works, because now we've got like a card system and other stuff. There are no more seasonal bonuses. There's no grid. This is truly them. Like they're out of the box this time. And I'm very curious because I want to dive into that one. Very interesting story. A lot of stuff on the Throne World will be cool there as well. New exotic. We basically have a Hive Boomer grenade launcher. The big, like, those spiral arc grenades. That is what this thing is. And I've been using it. And it is a grenade launcher in the special slot, but you don't have to reload. And I have like 30 of them. kind of powerful. Now, I don't know where it's going to land for DPS and other things because it's like not the fastest thing in the world. But this thing, maybe the Catalyst and whatever else, all I can say, Arc Boomers, we are coming for you, because this thing fires a grenade. Then if the grenade kills enemies, then it's going to send Arc Mods that are allies to you, and those Arc Mods are going to go kill enemies and explode. It's fun. So the X-Dearest, however it's said, definitely something to consider. We've got new activities. Crota's End is the raid, so the world's first raid race for Crota's reprised raid will be 10 a.m. Pacific on September 1st. That one's coming. Witch Queen Trial. Guardians who haven't explored the Witch Queen, you can experience at no additional charge during the upcoming Witch Queen Trial. So if you want to experience the campaign or go pick up Strand, you're going to be able to do that. Things are also going to be on sale. If you haven't bought certain expansions, we'll look for sales. They should be coming. And then Final Shape FAQ. So when they talk about the Final Shape campaign, we're going to go through the campaign. We're going to face off with the witness. Things are going to happen between the campaign and the raid, and that stuff will wrap. They mention the episodes afterwards are going to literally take place after the raid, and it will kick off with what has happened post defeat of the witness, which you have to assume we win. So the first episode, Echoes, they said starts 2 weeks after the start of Final Shape, which is on February 27th. So 2 weeks later, whatever time that is in March, that is when Echoes will actually begin. And that's Echoes Act 1. 6 weeks later, Echoes Act 2, and so forth down the line. They say Final Shape Dungeon Key grants access to 2 dungeons. I'm guessing, I guess, 1 dungeon is going to be during Revenant, and 1 dungeon is going to be during Heresy. Not entirely sure when they're going to drop those, but I don't imagine, since we'll get a raid here. It also doesn't sound like we're going to be getting reprised raids. Just feels like they would have maybe, mentioned the cadence of that stuff still going. I don't know. A lot of this year is going to be somewhat of a question. The Final Shape Collector's Edition is actually the old OG tower in Destiny. Kind of want to get it. It's not cheap, but I'm debating. Can you get the annual pass upgrade that unlocks all the... yes, you can get the annual pass upgrade that unlocks all the contents of the annual pass later. We get the standard edition. How to access the new dungeon? You'll have to get the dungeon key, other stuff like that. So that's an FAQ. The biggest thing for me at this point is what I wanted to know is what is year 11? And right now we don't. Right now, year 11 is a big question mark because they say stuff for years to come. They have a plan. I think right now the episodes could be cool because it gives you a chance to every 6 weeks get a chunk of Destiny, play hard, play as much as you want to. We'll see when dungeons drop, probably in these other 2 episodes. But every 6 weeks you're going to get a chunk of story. They said they were going to do more content, more story than they have before, more cinematics than they've ever posted in previous seasons and previous years. They want to go hard, it sounds like, in these. So part of it is like, these are the first 3 episodes, depending on the success, depending on what it's like to develop them, depending on what they have in the works for another expansion, may all be in flux until they see how some of these go. An expansion is not small, so that's not something they're just going to like whip together. But we could have, 3 episodes for the year of 2024. Maybe we get 3 more episodes of 2025. And maybe these episodes are a way for them to tell some stories, have some activities, have the game continue on posts Light and Dark Saga. Maybe until they do sit there and work for a Final Shape like expansion, whatever expansion follows the Final Shape. Maybe it is farther away. And these episodes help the live team keep things going while the expansion team works on something bigger, grander. I don't know. I really don't know what that's going to be. But one of the things I wanted to see what year 11 was, what the title card for future expansions, and I got none of that. The other probably big, ginormous pink elephant in the room is going to be PvP. Not one iota of what I have told you guys is about PvP. We are getting a PvP map this season. And we're getting Checkmate. Those are coming right now. But as for next year, we know they're working on the PvP strike team, which has to get up and running and work on stuff. And then we're going to get a map pack. But I don't know where the PvP people land on this one. Me as a PvE guy, I'm good. I've got a decent amount of stuff going on. The cadence of the arcs and stuff like that will be cool. But also, I don't know where this lands for everybody. It seems like, Destiny is not going anywhere, I can tell you. It seems like they've got years planned. I think they're trying to figure out how they want to deliver the stories they're going to tell. Are expansions something they still want to do? If they go hard on these episodes, maybe they turn into something grander in a future year. That's a question we won't know for a little while, and I think they want Final Shape to have a story told before they tell us about posts. I'm hoping after Final Shape, you know, they start dropping the previous gen consoles, allows them to do more development in creative stuff with maybe the newer gen consoles and things of that nature. Maybe that's stuff they just don't want to say yet because they want to get the Final Shape out, they want to finish this saga, then more. That's my guess is what they might have to do for marketing and agreements and who knows what. There's probably plenty I didn't cover, but I think I hit a lot of the high notes. I will be playing this season, of course, and putting out a guide for what's going on, because it's definitely different. We've got a couple different activities and cards and things of that nature. So look for that one coming from me. Probably a lot of like hidden guides for where to find a whole bunch of these things, because they seem to be all over the place. And then as for, you know, us leading into Final Shape, I'm going to keep covering this, but I'm also going to keep covering some variety. I'm working on my review for Starfield. I'm playing it as much as I can. So I'm going to do what I can today, get my, you know, videos out, continue to cover this, but I'm probably not going to be streaming as much while I'm working on other stuff. So hopefully you guys will still be around for everything that I'm doing. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like below. If there's anything major that I missed, go watch the showcase. It's only about 45 minutes. And you actually see a lot of the stuff I cover. You get to see the devs be all hyped up, kind of going into a bit more detail. I just didn't want to play a 45-minute video and go through everything. This is already creeping up on 30 minutes, and, you know, there's a lot to cover. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Drop a like if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.